Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you that is both fun and deeply personal because for the first time in a very long time, we're going to be talking about music on this channel. As you may remember, the last time we talked about music was a video called I Don't Listen to Music, which was a story about why I don't, or at least didn't listen to music for about the first 30 years of my life until I smoked of the cannabis plant, and that dead part in my brain up here that did not care about music finally woke up and found some interest in this. The downside being that I was kind of a blank slate and I didn't really know where to go or what to do. So today I'm going to be sharing with you one of my personal playlists. This one is my music video playlist. I'm going to be talking about my favorite music videos and some of the music on here, and I'm going to be asking for recommendations from you guys because I want to expand my palette a little bit, learn more. I'm still taking my baby steps here, but basically for a huge portion of my life I didn't like music, didn't care about it, wasn't interested in it. Tried cannabis for the first time, it kind of woke my brain up, and since I've been having health problems, I've been digging in really deep into my hoard of Delta 8 products. I've spent a lot of time in a elevated state of mind, you might say, and I've been digging even deeper into music. It was a minor interest, now it's a significantly growing interest. And since we're talking about music, I thought I'd let you know that this video is sponsored by Astro Gaming. I built my entire Astro pegboard wall here to collect Astro headsets from the 2010 edition A40s, one of the first products they ever released, to the pink color wave, to the discontinued A38s. I listen to a ton of music on these, they're Bluetooth, to the beautiful new color wave Astro A40 Gen 2 headset. So everything that I'm going to be talking about today, I listen to on these headsets, and if you want a discount, you can find it down there below in the description. There's a link that'll take you to the store. It should give you 5% off, or you could just use code DRIFTER. Now let's get back to the video. And one more thing before we jump into the commentary proper. If you want to recommend songs, music videos, or playlists to me, you can do so in the YouTube comments below. It's a little messy that way. Or you can send me a message on Discord. I keep my server and my community very open. We don't do everyone pings, and I think I have open messages for everybody. It's a little easier to organize that way, so you're welcome to pop in there and talk too. So here I am, 35 years old and taking my very first baby steps into music. I have no knowledge of bands, no instrument preferences, no preconceived notions of what music is supposed to be. I'm a blank slate. Not quite. Nobody's truly a blank slate. They're all shaped by their experiences in life. So the music videos that we're going to talk about today all fit into a couple of different categories of things that I was already somewhat interested in. I'm kind of monkey branching from one topic to another, except musically. Each one of these will kind of be a category. I've got written down anime, 80s horror movies, art films, funny videos, positive messages, and metal. So we've got a little bit to dig through here. Those are the things I definitely like, and you'll see some of the taste reflected. Some of the things that I do not like, and this is very important for the recommendation section, I don't like overbearing instruments. When I'm listening to music and all I hear is one guitar or one drum or one thing 1,000 times louder than anything else, hate it, overwhelming. Not a big fan of country music or rap music in general. Those genres are way too far on the end of their respective spectrums. I can do some rap. Something like Astronaut in the Ocean isn't so bad. Country's pretty rough, and more than anything, I think I hate glitch hop or the kind of retro electro music where it's just like little MIDI boops and beeps and screams and high-pitched things that make me want to rip my eyes out. Don't like that at all. And now, after wasting almost 3 minutes of your life on that intro, let's finally talk about the music and the song. So right off the rip, I found this band called Siames, S-I-A-M-E-S, and they make fantastic music videos, and their music itself is really catchy. I found them through this anime-style video called No Lullaby. It really kind of stood out to me because they're kind of doing the older retro anime style. It had a fun, cute little story of a big sister looking after her little brother, and the song itself was about growing up in a broken home, which is something that I very much so understand. I think the music video is excellent, and I think the music itself is excellent. Similarly, I enjoyed their music video Summer Nights. It kind of reminds me of some nice times from my childhood, a little bit of a nostalgic, a little bit more of a retro feel to this one. Thought the animation was good, if not simple. The Wolf, also very fun. It's about addiction and how you just kind of can't escape it. You have to face it down. It's very catchy, very repetitive, very beat heavy. Then finally, the weakest of theirs, the one I probably understand the less, I stare at and I kind of work my brain around, is Mr. Fear. It's something of a Romeo and Juliet story mixed with kaijus, catchy lyrics, and a lot of violence. Loved it. So Siames is very fun, and they're probably among the more modern of the things that we're going to talk about today. But branching off of that, I did find, recommended to me through the lovely YouTube music algorithm, this band called Ninja Sex Party, and their singer, and I listened to a couple of those. I found them very fun, not something I would put on my playlist. So I decided to look up and see what the lead singer, I think his name is Dan Avidan, did elsewhere. And turns out he was involved with two other fantastic projects, one of them with TWRP called Starlight Brigade. Again, it's very sort of anime in nature, at least for the music video, but it tells this super optimistic story about rising above, overcoming your fears, overcoming people telling you that you can't. It's got great references to Pink Floyd, to classic anime. They animated their band in there. It's just super fun, and I loved it. And most of all, I think I enjoyed the really positive message of the music video. That was really big for me. Similarly, he also made a video that does not have a positive message at all called Night Runner, which is, I guess, furries murdering each other if you want to be crass about it. Apologies, it's Magnum Bullets by Night Runner. He's sort of a guest on that one. This is a Game Grumps produced thing. Apparently they make music. After I listened to this, they just started recommending a bunch of glitch hop and crazy annoying stuff. But Magnum Bullets was fantastic, not wholesome or uplifting, a little bit more on the mature side. And as we move through this list, we're about to hit a huge and disproportional section to anything else. So when it comes to recommendations, let's recommend less from this section and more from the other stuff I kind of want to branch out, and that's retro wave. I love mostly 80s scary movies. I think that was a golden time for horror. You've probably seen it over and over again in the horror movie guides and some of the things I talk about and watch. And because of that, I was exposed to a lot of that music early on, a lot of the John Carpenter kind of synth-wavy stuffs. So when I think about things and think about things I enjoy, I can connect those sounds of music to those films that I enjoyed, sometimes for entirely different reasons though. And then I discovered this genre of retro wave, which is mostly 80s stuff, but it's reimagined. Like the actual stuff from the 80s is kind of rough. Most of it kind of sucks. They just take that concept of it and make it way better and more modern. And there's some amazing music videos out there. We're going to start off with the guy that I probably like the most in this group, Carpenter Brut. These are very adult, very mature music videos. I don't even know what screenshots we can show from them. The first one of his I ever saw was Turbo Killer. I love the style, I love the attitude, the music fit it perfectly. I love the sort of transgressive nature of everything about it. It was a very wonderfully offensive sort of music video. And then I kind of moved around and explored some of the other stuff. Apparently they made an entire album of music videos that has a consistent story going all the way across about a student that was bullied in school and then murders people. And those are a little bit inconsistent of quality. Some of them are amazing, some of them a little bit less so. And what I love about it is that they got old cameras and filmed stuff in old retro style and then mixed it in with old movies. So when you're watching this, you can't tell what's new filmed and what stuff taken from like old classic films. So on my list, I have Monday Hunt, which is probably the gnarliest of them. And then I have Inferno Galore, which is probably the most hilarious of them about D&D and Satanism and parodying that sort of stuff. The music on these is catchy, it's fun, but I do like them better with the music videos. Moving along in this humongous section, I found some stuff from Perturbator that's kind of fun. Sometimes his music gets a little bit too heavy, a little bit too grungy and mean and kind of industrially. For me, it sounds more noisy, but he does have some bangers. The one that I like the most that we're going to talk about today is called Sentient. It's a little bit of a sort of pixel art, cyberpunk music video about a guy looking for his android girlfriend. Very sexual, a lot of nudity, a little bit more on the offensive, mature, kind of gnarly side. I really loved it. It was right up my alley for enjoying cyberpunk stuff, and I thought the music was mediocre up until about the halfway point, and then it just does a hard flip and it becomes very, very good. Got a few more on the playlist from Perturbator. I don't need to talk about that too much, but we're about to transition into a more wholesome version of this section of retro wave music because I also discovered Gunship. They're a modern band. They do a lot of retro wave stuff, but their music videos are fantastic, and they actually did a partnership with Carpenter Brut for their own, for the Widowmaker. I find that one very, very catchy, especially the choose the pills part, because that's kind of how my life feels sometimes. Their old classic video, Tech Noir, I almost didn't like. I love like the animations and the style. It's great that they got John Carpenter to do some of the lyrics and voice work, but it really doesn't pick up until kind of the second half, but then it gets really good, so I still watch it. The Drone Racers is very fun. It's a little bit more of a background noise, a background music kind of thing. I don't think about it as actively, but I do enjoy it. I added a couple of other Gunship videos on here, but the most notable, the best one that they made, is probably the only one that's not retro wave, which is Fly for Your Life. It's about an American and German pilot in World War II having a duel and effectively getting more and more aggressive to the point where they both choose suicide and madness, trying to kill each other. I think the song is great. The message is actually a little bit optimistic given how sort of grim the music video is. Love it, listen to it all the time. Now we're going to be moving into a slightly different section that I have labeled as artsy and chemically enhanced, or high video. These are videos that I discovered, or at least discovered that I enjoyed while I was profoundly high. So when watching them, I would encourage some sort of substance if it's legal in your country or state. And these are ones that normally would not appeal to me. These are things that would push me away, but in that sort of vulnerable, impressionable state, it kind of makes my brain tick and think and wonder and do some interesting things. And I'm a sucker for an art film, so I'm a sucker for an artsy music video, and let's just jump right in. I found C2C from Delta. I think the music video is a little bit better than the song itself. The song has some catchy parts and then some parts that I don't care much for. It's a little bit on the loud side, but the whole package is very nice. One of the things I could talk about forever, as a matter of fact, I'm going to take a break and talk about this one forever. We'll have a lot more screenshots of this one. I found this two-part music video. It's two songs from the Offspring smushed into one, dividing by zero, and then Slim Pickens does the right thing and rides the bomb to hell. I find that the song here is exceptional, honestly. I found it to be very, very good. I understood it, understood the attitude, understood the emotion, the music, everything kind of built up. And same for the second song, as a matter of fact, because it's 2 for 1. But then the music video on top of it is just rife with symbolism of life and death. Death is a character in this. It's good versus bad in a sort of fascist war, but even the good guy is still a warrior and still flawed, and he tries to do all the right things and resist and persevere and fight and struggle against this adversary that no matter what you do, you can't escape, which is honestly a little bit how life feels to me. I feel like I'm living in the beginning stages of a dystopia, and that nothing I do is going to help me escape that, and chaos is in my future. So I can identify with that feeling and all the symbology around it. Then he ultimately dies and goes to hell, only to find out that he's half a soul, the other half being his arch nemesis, because they're two sides of the same coin at war, because fascism has to have an enemy, right? And then it turns into this sort of crazy, barbaric, overthrowing hell, seeing people's true faces, seeing their anger come out sort of thing. Really enjoyed it. I've listened to some other stuff from The Offspring, and it just wasn't as good as this. It made some other pretty good music videos, but this one is just the one that really stands out for me. I could do a whole video analyzing this, so I'm going to keep moving on. Totally off the rails. The next three, they're all going to be very different in genre. We've got Bye Bye Macadam from Roan. This one is probably the most elevated of all of the music videos. It combines a little bit of artistry with science and paganism, a beat that would initially come off as very unappealing, very kind of loud, perhaps a little bit grating to me, but when combined with the visuals, I finally understand the story that they want to tell, and it's one of hermeticism almost, or of the same all the way down. It's these characters, they come together to build atoms, and then the atoms come together to build things, and it's sort of these systems that they're building all the way up the universe, all the way to a black hole, except it's witches in every case. And I just sort of love that sort of repetitive and reflective structure, because that's kind of how I see reality working, as mirroring itself from top to bottom. Then we have a song called Overthinker by Enzo, and I think this is one that I really only like when I'm high. It's way loud, it's got some really hard beats, some sort of glitch hoppy stuff that I'm not normally patient with, but the music video is pretty interesting, and I think what I like the best about it is this narration that goes in. It's talking about philosophy, talking about thought, talking about getting lost in yourself. It's some recording from like the 1700s or something ancient, and they mix it in, and after something profound is said, drop the bass, might make a bunch of music, and that kind of helps me think about it when I'm elevated, so that's fun. I did find Mike Snow's Genghis Khan. It's very catchy. This is probably one of the most pop things on the list. It's just catchy, right? I can just think about it. I can hear it in my head. I'm not even going to hum it because they'll hit me with a strike. But then the music video also appeals to me because it's in a retro style, which I can appreciate. This time like a late 70s retro. That's a fun one. Not enough like late 70s sci-fi and action films out there. Really underappreciated stuff like Scanners. So it's got that, it's got this James Bond element, there's an LGBT romance element, but done so in a truly comically hilarious way about a villain who falls in love with Bond more than his wife. and it's just catchy. So I enjoyed that one. I also enjoy Pearl Jam's Do the Evolution. The song on this one is mostly a song that I don't like. It does have a couple of sections that I think are very good, mostly when Lady Death herself is on the screen, and I think this one stood out for me as impactful and important because I came across it after the Epic Dream series. I had that whole Epic Dream about vampires or whatever, and then I came across this music video, and Lady Death in this music video looks identical to one of the characters and even does things nearly identical to what was happening in my dream. It's possible that I saw this as a kid in the 90s and it didn't even come out of my subconscious until I was in college. But the whole song has a grim but important message to it about wasting the planet, about trying to control nature and destroying everything. And all this progress that we do just feeds death even more and more and more. And the best part of the video is the dance with death. If you have ever danced with death, that's more or less what it feels like. Chugging away on down this list, we've got weirder and weirder videos. Next up is Addict from Has Been Hotel. I kind of went on a kick of watching Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. Love those series. I think they're fantastic. Can't wait for A24 to turn it into a proper long-running show, but I didn't know that they had a prequel to Has Been Hotel starring one of the characters called Addict. And for those of you that are sensitive to this, the character in question is a intersexed or trans very famous porn star, and it's about being addicted to being abused, being addicted to drugs, being addicted to violence. The song, I think, is very catchy. I like where they talk about giving into your inner demons again, because you know you're going to do that anyway. The animation is fantastic. It's cartoonish and childish and profoundly offensive at the same time, which I just absolutely love. It's kind of like a furry music video, but I think the song is good enough to live on beyond the video itself. Moving on down the list, we've got some odder ones. I put Reckless Love's Monster on there. I first saw that on the Peacemaker show. The song sort of strikes a note of what it's like to like something a little bit alternative, to be off the beaten path, so to speak. Now, the song is about falling in love with a girl who's very heavily surgically modified, superwoman and a dirty freak and this and that kind of stuff. But to me, it was kind of like growing up as a kid. I kind of got told what I did and didn't like, and who I did and didn't like, and what was and wasn't pretty, and blah, blah, blah. And there was a lot of, unfortunately, racial connotations to that too. But I knew that I was different from everybody else, that I didn't share those opinions or beliefs, and the things that I liked were considered dirty, filthy, wrong, blah, blah, blah. So hearing this, it really kind of clicked in my head of being comfortable with the things you like. So I enjoyed that song. I added Fab Tool from Carpenter Brut in here. That's something I can kind of only watch when I'm high. It's a little grim. And then finally, a fun one down at the very end, Salvatore Ganasci's Fight Dirty. This guy is super weird. He's a musician. He does bizarre interviews. His YouTube channel is probably half of like really weird Skittles commercial type stuff. And then out of nowhere, for seemingly no reason, he comes out with this sort of like, I don't have the language to describe this. It's a very modern song. I'm going to say EDM. That's probably wrong, but this very upbeat, very punchy kind of song with a professional studio animating all of this stuff. He put himself in as the main villain, and the whole thing is just super fun. So I enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy it half as much as I did. Wow, that was fast. In a little bit under 20 minutes here, I've managed to describe my entire playlist, a little scant on details for each one of them, because if you haven't seen them, I don't want them to be spoiled. And it's also difficult for me to show clips or talk about specific musical beats without getting a big fat copyright strike, and I don't want to just sit here and try to hum it or imitate the noises, because that's going to be embarrassing. So I guess at the end of this very medicated personal journey I've been on, I found out that I enjoy some of the calmer, more chill music from Siames. I also enjoy retro wave stuff ranging from wholesome, like the Starlight Brigade, to downright brutal, like Turbo Killer, and then perhaps more than anything, even an art video. Maybe I'm a sucker. Maybe I should just go watch French films or something, but I absolutely love an artistic music video that has a meaning, that is clearly high effort, high quality, high brain power, high all the way through, I suppose, on my end. But yeah, that's me. That's what I've been up to, and that's what I've been experimenting with. But now at the end of the video, I want to implore you to check out the links down there in the description. Sponsored ones are lovely, but you could also check out Discord or this entire playlist. You can listen on your own. I more or less put it in the order that I was going to be talking about on YouTube today. And if you have recommendations for me, things that you think I might like based on this, then by all means, reply in the comments or send me Discord messages. Tweets might get a little lost. That gets a little busy there, but you're welcome to tweet at me all the same. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.